All right, what's up everyone? OJ here. Welcome back to another Xenoblade Chronicles 3 update video. I'm going to be covering pretty much everything when it comes to Xenoblade Chronicles 3 with the rumors and news and information leading into the rumored September reveal at a huge Nintendo Direct. So I think it'll be pretty cool to go back and look when we find out more information if these rumors and some of this leaked information or what people are saying end up being true. But before we get into any of this, please make sure you hit that like button and also subscribe if you are someone new, and click that notification bell to get my videos first. Now, this information comes from Samus Hunter, who leaks apparently some stuff. I mean, she's gotten some things correct. She was right on some of the information that she did have previously to Pokemon Legends Arceus and also Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl being revealed. There was some things that she did have to say about it before the presentation that she did get right. So we are going to be cautiously optimistic slash take with a grain of salt when it comes to this. But there are some things that are coming together with some of the other information that other people have talked about when it comes to Xenoblade Chronicles 3, a game that Monolith Soft is seemingly been working on for quite some time now, and it does seem like we have a little bit of information on the new IP as well. So let's go ahead and get into these tweets that Samus Hunter had to say recently. Next, Xenoblade has more characters on screen? Question mark. Maybe, but the game is going to be the most visual demanding game on Switch for other reasons. They want to step up even more the lighting, particle system, and characters feature rendering, such as better hairs and clothing material. Although Xenoblade Chronicles 2 has received development rushes that have led to suboptimal optimization, Monolith prefers to focus on advanced rendering solutions rather than increased resolution to make cutscenes more cinematic and allow for complex worlds. But yes, the chances that the next title of Monolith Soft is a new Xenoblade are high, since weeks ago I talked about the return of Ace for such project group that composed the music of Xenoblade Chronicles 1 and 2. For characters, I heard that collaborations with various artists will continue like they did with Xenoblade Chronicles 2. They got a lot of cool artists to do some of the character designs in that game, so it's going to be interesting to see who makes it in this one too. Now also, since we also talked about the story and characters, you can expect even more sci-fi and psychological slash philosophical elements from this title. Monolith's goal is to also be able to interconnect all the titles in the series, including X. So that could be your answer when some people are saying, I want a Xenoblade Chronicles X2 to solve the cliffhanger from Xenoblade Chronicles X, the original. Maybe they're trying to solve it all. Maybe they're trying to make sure that this is the ultimate Xenoblade game. So that could be part of it. That really could be part of it as well. Now, Samus Hunter also did recently talk, or at least I did see some information about the new IP that Monolith Soft might still be doing it, but Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is the next game that is up, and whatever that new IP is or whatever it's going on with it, it's not going to be before Xenoblade Chronicles 3. So there is that as well. So let's go ahead and get into a little bit more information. Then I'll kind of break down what we heard and everything right here, guys. So there was a recent podcast that went up from Fanbyte where they discussed some things there. Fanbyte, that's Imran Khan. He originally had the big Xenoblade Chronicles 3 article in terms of the game and talk about some of the story elements that he's heard from rumored or allegedly. So this kind of follows up on that, and Samus Hunter discusses that in some tweets. And there is also a video link. I'll have that for you guys, and all the information link in the description below. So Fanbyte made a podcast discussing again about Xenoblade with some new details. I'm still confident on what I know, and I think he made that article just for clickbait with a mix of sometimes wrong informations. This is the last time I will talk about them unless they say more. Now, the immortal characters have survived. So why is Melia still there and not others like Alvis? Xenoblade Chronicles 2 DLC was a teaser to the fact that the two worlds could merge. The two worlds don't converge in the new game. So this is getting really kind of interesting in terms of what's happening. They're talking about Xenoblade Chronicles 2 DLC, or are they talking about Xenoblade Chronicles Future Connected on that one? Now, Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition was made so they could have assets for new, these assets don't have the quality to be in the new game, with entirely new models with better poly count and complex design. Also, the style between 1 and 2 is different. Here's the link. So basically, Samus Hunter is refuting some of the information that Fanbyte is saying with their latest podcast, going over some things, and talks about how they don't necessarily believe that original article where Imran Khan was writing on Fanbyte, everything that was in there, sometimes wrong information. So we'll have to wait and see. I think that here's the thing with these games, guys, and this is what happens with misinformation or whatever the case is. I don't think anybody is intentionally trying to lie about everything when it comes down to it. Now, some people do, and I completely get that, but I think that sometimes development changes. Not even sometimes. We know that development changes, and you might hear things at different time points. So for example, at one point, Xenoblade Chronicles X had a full, actual usable main character that wasn't an avatar character, right? Like, use an avatar in Xenoblade Chronicles X, but at one point it was actually a full main character that I thought was going to be like some type of descendant of Shulk, or like a Shulk in an alternate world, because of the original trailer for Xenoblade Chronicles X back when it was just called Monolith Soft's X or whatever the case is. So I think things just kind of change on there. But at the end of the day, it's all just rumors at this point. So I want to make sure that everybody just realizes that everything right now is just a rumor. We're just going over and leading into any information, because I know you guys, and I know I'm hungry for any new info, even if it's just a little bit of info to talk about the game or what they're going to be doing. But I wanted to kind of focus in on a couple of different things in a series of videos when it comes to Xenoblade, what they can do to increase the game's appeal, what they can do to make the game sell better, what they can do to make the game a major IP, what they can do to just make Xenoblade more of a household name and get more people to buy it. Now, Monolith Soft has been doing a fantastic job with these games. If you look at Xenoblade Chronicles 1 to Xenoblade Chronicles 2, then you have Torna, then you have Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, you also have Xenoblade Chronicles X. I mean, there's just all great games, but you have to remember, Monolith Soft hasn't made the big full force of a Monolith Soft game since Xenoblade Chronicles X. That was 2015. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 was done by a smaller side team, to where they said, hey, I mean, we can still, make something here. We've got the expertise. We can do it. We outsource some artists and stuff like that. We can make a great game. Maybe it's not as impressive as Xenoblade Chronicles X in terms of scope and scale, because Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is not, but it was still a very good game with some unique gameplay hooks and concepts and tons of content. And Torna the Golden Country was a controlled experience that was extremely good, and maybe, just maybe, delivered the best polished combat in the Xenoblade series, hands down. I mean, for some people at least. I know I thought that way. The combat was so clean and so polished in terms of adding in-depth mechanics, but then also simplifying it, but then also adding other things for more depth, and like the Vanguard system and the switching back and forth. It was just so good, and it wasn't a million-hour RPG, so you could actually get through it in a decent time and play through all the content. So it just depends on what you like. But I honestly feel, in terms of what Samus Hunter had to say here and some of the stuff that we learned before, I know Nate from Direct Feed Games, he kind of chimed in a little bit too. This is probably going to be the most impressive thing that Monolith Soft has done to this point. They're probably going to want to go all out, and there's a few reasons why here. You look at what they did before, right? So look at Xenoblade Chronicles X. That came out at the end of the Wii U's life, and they really took their time. That game was in development for 5-6 years, something crazy. I know they started working on it not too long after the original Xenoblade came out in 2010 in Japan. So they'd been working on that game for a number of years, and I think that the Takahashi team won, and the brunt, the full kind of like strength of that Xenoblade Chronicles X team, plus people that they've added on, are working on Xenoblade Chronicles 3. So that's why this game is going to be more impressive than Xenoblade Chronicles 2. That's why it's going to be more impressive than the Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. So I think I agree with what Samus Hunter had to say here in terms of the Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition was made so they can have some assets for the next one. No, I don't think that's going to be the case. I think they're going to be using completely new models. I think they're going to be using a completely new revamped engine from what they had from Tone of the Golden Country, or just a new engine just in general. So I don't see that in terms of what they have to say on Fanbite, but I do think that there are some things that maybe are good in terms of what they said about some of the story or returning characters or some of that type of stuff. But it's going to be interesting to just see what goes down and what information comes out, what the rumored information is, what's going to be happening, because I do feel that this is going to be the most impressive. This is going to be the game that where you really say, wow, this is a huge, big, monolith soft title, kind of like how Samus Hunter was explaining with how she thinks that this Xenoblade Chronicles game is what they're doing with the rendering and the complex worlds and things like that. So they did that type of work on Xenoblade Chronicles X. I mean, I recently played Xenoblade Chronicles X on the Wii U on stream just the other night, and man, and I was just blown away. That's the Wii U, okay? That's the Wii U, the first iteration of that engine that they're using on the Wii U, not as powerful as the Switch, and that game is still incredible looking in 720p and with the Wii U's graphics. So I think that they're gonna go for that same type of, okay, we're going in, right? Like Xenoblade X was that big, huge, took forever to make game and everything, whereas Xenoblade 2 was not. So I think that's gonna be the case with Xenoblade Chronicles 3 on the Nintendo Switch, or whatever Xenoblade they wanna call it. And I feel that it's going to be extremely impressive overall because the brunt of their team is working on this one here. But we're going to have to wait and see on that, guys. I'm going to have more Monolith Soft reports, more Xenoblade Chronicles 3 reports as we get closer, as we get new information, because something needs to go down here, guys. It's been a while since we've had a brand new Xenoblade game that wasn't tied to 2 in some type of way, or a remaster like Definitive Edition. So I do think something's going down for this year out of Nintendo Direct, but we're going to have to wait and see on that one. But what are your thoughts on this when it comes to Xenoblade Chronicles 3, when it comes to what Samus Hunter had to say here, and everything else? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Check out the links in the description. I've got a Twitter page. Please give me a follow on there. Stay up to date on all latest gaming news and information. Also, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and share this video if you can. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you for the next one. Peace.